Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. I'd like to extend my gratitude in you listening to this podcast. It means everything to me, and I hope it is clear that this subject matter is so important to me. I care about our people, our future, and making a positive change in this nation.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. Today we will have a solo episode, and it's just me. So yeah, welcome to the show. First, I would like to say thank you for all the listeners and viewers of our visual episodes on YouTube. I appreciate all the support. Speaking of support, we recently received some feedback on the website Buy Me a Coffee. And so I want to share that with you guys. Let's see. The first one is from Dom. And he says, keep up the great work and good luck during award season. So he supported the show with coffee. And we appreciate that. And then we also have another one from Mr. LP. And he says, she's passionate and dedicated to her work. She shares with the world via podcasting. I respect her and the work. Hashtag to the top. So shout out to LP. We appreciate those kind words and the purchase of the coffee, which goes to support the show. Definitely appreciate that. If you would like to support the show in such a manner, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/woke by accident podcast. Also, there are other ways to support this show. I guess I don't talk about this enough in the beginning. We always talk about it at the end. So yeah, you can also leave a review or make a comment on the various streaming platforms. We would love to hear your feedback. So please do that. We encourage any feedback on the show as we grow. We're in our second year, so definitely would love to have you guys' thoughts. All right, so we have a few topics that we're going to get into today. We want to talk about the Britney Griner matter. There's an update with Derek Chauvin. We also want to talk about the Jayland Walker matter, and then also the tragic police incident concerning Randy Cox. So, those are the topics that we'll be discussing today. So let's get into the first story here. So last week we talked about Britney Griner. So her wife had reached out to President Biden in hopes of trying to get some change for her while she is still imprisoned in Russia. Well, the latest here is that she did plead guilty to carrying the cannabis oil, but her ultimate fate still remains unclear. And then Russia is reportedly asking for an exchange for where Britney would be released, and then they would exchange her for the notorious Russian weapons trafficker, Victor Bout. Now, Victor Bout was sentenced in November of 2011 in New York to 25 years for his crimes. And let's see, so he provided tons of guns and ammunition to some of the most vicious warlords in the world and empowered them to carry out very violent crimes. He is responsible for enabling murderous groups to kidnap and train thousands of child soldiers. He is responsible for the torture and rape of many individuals and the help of the Taliban in Afghanistan. So there's these talks of an exchange where she possibly could be released in exchange for this particular weapons trafficker, Victor Bout. So we'll see if that deal will happen. This is still, very fresh, her just pleading guilty and her trial going on over in Russia. So we'll stay with that. Definitely support Britney Griner. Hashtag free Britney. All right. So on to Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin was just recently sentenced to 21 years in federal prison for violating George Floyd's civil rights. Now, former police officer Derek Chauvin was sentenced for using excessive force under the color of law against George Floyd and a 14-year-old boy who was injured in an unrelated matter, very unrelated and similar incident. So this wasn't the first time that Derek Chauvin used excessive force on an African American. There was a 14-year-old boy who suffered injuries in the very same way with that chokehold manner. So, with time already served for Derek Chauvin, his sentence amounts to 20 years and 5 months. And then near the lower end of the range of 20 to 25 years, based on the guidelines for sentencing. His federal and state sentences are to be served concurrently. Now, another interesting thing about this one is that he was allowed to speak during the sentencing and he did not offer any apology. I guess we're not surprised by that. During the former trials, he did not offer an apology before. So this trial really is just really a maddening one for me. We may recall the original incident with Derek Chauvin from May 25th, 2020, when he pinned George Floyd to the pavement outside a Minneapolis corner store and held him down for more than 9 minutes as he lay dying in front of a very large crowd. George Floyd's killing sparked numerous protests worldwide, and it raised a reckoning over police brutality and racism. That was one of the inspirations for our podcast, also in May of 2020. And so there's a lot of significance there, but, it just doesn't seem like there's any remorse there. So, all this time, and, is he sorry? Did he learn anything? It doesn't seem to be the case. But he will serve the sentence of the 21 years based on what was handed out this month. The next case I want to share with you, you all may have seen the video footage of the young man from Akron, Ohio, Jayland Walker, and this happened on June 27th. The Akron, Ohio police officers killed Jayland Walker, who was a 25-year-old African-American male from Akron, during a foot chase following a vehicle traffic stop. Now, he was shot 60 times, but the officers fired more than 90 bullets toward Walker. That is a lot of firepower. I can't imagine. And looking at the video, it's quite disturbing. I won't share it with you guys, but it's out on social media for you to take a look at. He's definitely running away and doesn't appear to be in an aggressor position. At the time, based on the reports, it appeared that the officers thought he was reaching for something in his waistband, and that was the logic we apparently the logic for them firing in that particular manner. So they've held the funeral for Jayland Walker this week, and the city declared a citywide day of mourning after days of protests over his death. The United Nations has a special group named the International Independent Expert Mechanism to Advance Racial Justice and Equality in Law Enforcement. Now, this group reached out to the law office handling the Walker's case, and they are going to appoint an independent investigator to look into Walker's death. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation concludes its inquiry after the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation concludes their inquiry into the shooting. This special group was formed after George Floyd's death in 2020. So hopefully after the Bureau looks into this matter further and the UN special group, we should see some charges for these officers, because they definitely took it too far, in my opinion, and it's definitely, more than egregious in this case. It's pretty shocking, 90 shots and him being hit 60 times. It's just way excessive. To hear his family just discuss it on TV, and it's just heartbreaking. And he was a young man with no prior history with any offenses or anything like that. So just another police matter that we are discussing again. This last one, this other police matter, this concerns a man from Connecticut, Randy Cox. Now, there's video of this one also that you may find on social media. Randy Cox suffered a serious injury to his neck and spine while in police custody last month, and his family is now pursuing a federal civil rights investigation into the incident. The family attorney will be Ben Crump, and he has met with the Department of Justice to relay the demands of the Randy Cox family to the U.S. Attorney Vanessa Roberts Avery. Now, they are closely monitoring the ongoing investigations into the circumstances. In this particular case, he was in the back of the police van. Yeah, so he was in the police van and became paralyzed after the vehicle braked suddenly, and with it braking abruptly in that manner to avoid collision, it caused Cox to fly headfirst into the wall of the van. So he remains paralyzed from the chest down to this day as a result of this incident. What's troubling about the incident is after he has this injury, on the video you can hear him being able to speak and cry out for help. And so they do, come and look to see what the issue is. And they said that they were going to take him to or get an ambulance for him. But instead, the video shows the officers dragging him by his feet from the van and placing him in a holding cell at the police department before the paramedics finally took him to the hospital. So all this time, suffering that particular injury without seeking or getting any medical attention. And, they lied to him, and he's suffering this, you can imagine the type of pain that he's experiencing, having a head injury like that, where he's not able to move his lower part of his body. And so they're just dragging him. I don't know if they thought he was lying or what the case was, but yeah, it's just really horrible. And so he remains hospitalized, and now he is unable to speak and has a breathing tube. Now, 5 members of the New Haven Police Department who were involved in the transport remain on leave while the episode is being investigated. So definitely there should be some updates and movement in this matter, and hopefully some charges perhaps, because they are responsible for his injuries, and definitely delaying his medical attention definitely feels like a violation of a civil right. Even prisoners deserve to be seen for medical treatment if they are injured, and he did not have that right. So we will definitely be watching this story along with the others to provide updates and let you know what's going on. And those are the updates that we had for this week. I do appreciate you guys listening and your support. If you would like to participate in the show in any capacity, you can reach out to me on Instagram. The handle is Woke by Accident Podcast. You also can tap in with us on ClubHouse. We, myself and some other podcasters, have a room and club, and we meet on Mondays and Fridays at 8:30 Central Time. And our room is the Content Creators of Color Collective. And so tap in with us if you would like to discuss podcasting, and maybe you have some questions or ideas. We would love to have you guys out there. So we'll have that information in the show notes for you guys, along with the links. The website is www.wokebyaccident.net. And we thank you guys for listening. Take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out, and also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms, and please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening, and take care.